the fuck is a hash rate? July 26, 2023. Hash rates are the number of guesses per second competing to add a block to the time chain. As of today, July 17, 2023, Bitcoin's hash rate is 367.06 exahashes per second, or 361,920,000 terahashes per second. The highest the Bitcoin hash rate has ever reached is 538.05 exahashes per second, or 538,050,000 terahashes per second. But what does this even mean, and why does it matter? Before we break down these cryptic numbers, let's discuss the basics. The Bitcoin blockchain uses proof of work to achieve consensus. What this means is that computing power is expanded in order to be first to successfully guess the answer to a complex math problem called a hash function, the purpose of which is to cryptographically link blocks together. The people applying their computing power to try to solve this math problem first and therefore earn Bitcoin for securing the networks are known as miners, and that's where we get the term Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin mining. A simple way to think of hash rates is that more people mining Bitcoin increase the hash rate. More guesses, hash goes up. Fewer guesses, hash goes down. Also, the Bitcoin protocol adjusts the hash difficulty according to this variation in demand, which will be covered a little further down. First, let's take an easy real-world example. When China banned Bitcoin mining back in May of 2021, this resulted in a lot of miners going offline, closing up shop to head for friendlier jurisdictions. This drop in miners immediately lowered the number of guesses per second occurring hash rate by more than 50%, which after the difficulty adjustment that followed, made solving the hash much easier for a smaller pool of Bitcoin miners. When the complexity of the hash is too hard, it makes Bitcoin miners more than 10 minutes to solve it. When the complexity of the hash is too easy, it takes Bitcoin miners less than 10 minutes to solve it. Why 10 minutes? The protocol was designed to self-correct its complexity to try and target one hash being solved approximately every 10 minutes. This is a mathematical adjustment to preserve a continuous block time. If it's at the protocol level, it's in the code. So how does the code execute itself? Every 2016 blocks, or approximately every 2 weeks, the Bitcoin blockchain adjusts the difficulty of its hash to try and hit the optimal block time. When the complexity of the hash is just right, the Bitcoin blockchain produces a new block every 10 minutes. In this article by Marty Bent, published in 2019, he found the original notation written by Satoshi Nakamoto actually referring to the Bitcoin blockchain as a time chain. A more recent Bitcoin magazine article has encouraged this name as it's more logical, clear, and straightforward to a newly arriving Bitcoiner. Bitcoin, as such, is perpetually self-correcting time chain. Between May 9th and June 28, 2021, the hash rate dropped from 191 exahashes per second down to 69 exahashes per second, hence the over 50% drop in hashing power. As mentioned, a bunch of people had packed up shop and this took a lot of Bitcoin miners out of the guessing game. Incidentally, as reported by the BBC, many of them ended up in Texas. 2 weeks after this 50% decline in hashing power, Bitcoin lowered the complexity of its hash puzzle by 28%, making it easier for the remaining miners to realign with the optimal block time established by the protocol. With this influx of new miners coming online in the US, enticed by open jurisdiction and by greater probability of solving the hash and procuring the Bitcoin rewards, by December 25, 2021, the hash rate of Bitcoin was back up to 182 exahashes per second. According to SoFi.com, Bitcoin's hash rate refers to the amount of computing and process power being contributed to the network through mining. To break that down a bit further, Investopedia defines hash rate as measured by the number of hashes or guesses per second on a blockchain network. So if there are 1,000 of guesses per second, that would mean the hash rate would be measured in kilohashes. If there were millions of hashes per second, the proof of work blockchain would be measured in megahashes. Billions are gigahashes or GHS. A trillion guesses are measured in terahashes. Quadrillion is petahashes, and quintillion is measured in exahashes per second. So back to the cryptic number above. As of this writing, every second there are 367 exahashes per second, or 367,920,000 quintillion guesses per second trying to solve the hash puzzle on the Bitcoin blockchain. 1 quintillion is 1,000 quadrillion, or a 1 with 18 zeros after it. Another way to express this is 10 to the 18th power, or a million millions. Scientists estimate that there are 10 quintillion insects on Earth. As of today, there are 36 million times more guesses per second occurring to solve the hash and add a block to the Bitcoin time chain than there are insects in the world. Making this many guesses this frequently consumes a lot of energy. Cambridge Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index pegs current Bitcoin miner usage at 140 terawatts per hour annually. In USD, the average price of electricity globally is 5 cents per kilowatt hour. A terawatt is a billion kilowatts. At 5 cents per kilowatt an hour, 140 terawatts per hour annually costs $613.2 billion. Currently, the market cap of Bitcoin is $580 billion. This near parity is not an accident. The market cap of Bitcoin is causally related to the cost of mining Bitcoin. Higher value Bitcoin, more guesses hunting for the hash equal greater cost. Lesser value Bitcoin, the opposite. The lagging complexity of Bitcoin's hash rate is therefore causally related to the value of a single Bitcoin. The same is true of mining gold. This research paper indicates that the price valuation of gold similarity influences the cost of gold production. Interestingly, I arrived at the average electrical cost of the proof-of-work system by extrapolating the cost of a terahashes per hour in a yearly total vis-a-vis the estimated cost of 5 cents per kilowatt hour. It was curious to discover that the number was so close to the market cap of Bitcoin on CoinMarketCap.com. Perhaps the additional discrepancy of 33 billion can be explained by non-electrical costs such as the changing price of ASICs and real-world necessity of renting warehouse space. Regardless, if price goes up, we'll probably continue to see hash rate rise as more Bitcoin miners come online and get that sweet, sweet block reward.